because that's the most important thing. All right. All right, now I'm just going to pop out the chat and then I will be ready. All right, we'll go from there. The good news is there's nobody in here for the live. It's just me, so I have a couple minutes to get everything set up, which kind of sucks when you watch it back, but okay, I think I'm good there. All right. So today we're putting in the last 3 hours on the saw before I can do a review on it. We're doing 15 hours of testing, which I think is plenty. Ow. All right, we're going to start out with some Bolivian rosewood. It's very pretty. And this is 1/2 inch thick, so like 16 millimeter thick. I almost took today off. Almost. But I really want to keep going on this review, so. So Bolivian rosewood is very dense. Pretty though. It's kind of oily too. I'm just going to cut this in half to make it smaller. Now we're going to lay out the mortise. So basically we're going to cut a rectangular hole in this piece of wood that will take this other arm. It'll slide in. The cool thing about scroll saws, you can make internal cuts with them. Give her a test fit. And then we're going to slide this file through to make sure everything is centered as far as the holes go. So as far as the pattern goes, we put down blue painter's tape, and then I use spray adhesive and put paper patterns on the top. That way I have a brand new fresh pattern for every single one. The reason we use blue painter's tape is it sticks out like a sore thumb. If you're using clear packing tape or like masking tape, depending on the wood, you might not see it. You go to sand it and you'll just make a big gummy mess. So this method just works out the best for us. I do have a video about 10 things I wish I learned when I got a scroll saw, and in that I go over a bunch of different ways to transfer patterns over onto the wood. But for this project, the painter's tape has really worked out well for us. You can use spray adhesive directly on the wood. You can glue the pattern on, but then your pattern's going to have glue on it. You can use mineral spirits to dissolve the glue, or you can sand it off, but I would rather not be soaked in mineral spirits every day. Hey CJ, how's it going? Hello B, welcome in. So hopefully by the time I'm done today, I will have my I'll have my 15 hours in on the scroll saw so I could do the review. We are making Turkish drop spindles that are used to spin yarn. So these are what came before spinning wheels. Yeah, isn't it Bolivian rosewood gorgeous? So we are cutting everything out on a 16-inch buck tool scroll saw. They just came out with this model. And they got a hold of me and asked me if I wanted to do a review on it. And I said yes. So they sent me one, so now I'm doing my testing. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so I make these for my day job. So I swapped out my big saw for this one for, a week. And so far, so good. If anything was wrong coming out of the factory, it would have happened already. So. Nice. Well, welcome in from India. Oh, I don't mind talking. Yeah, when I'm working on the lathe, I've got another little sign that sits on a phone holder. All right, I'm just gonna peel the pattern off. So I make them in several different widths. So I like to hand draw in the mortise we're cutting out. Hello, welcome in, 9370. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Hello, son. So normally I use a magnifier, but with the camera it doesn't really work out, so. I am in the USA. I'm in America. The state I live in is Wisconsin. Hello, Mohammed. Welcome in. And we have this little one. We still have the Bolivian rosewood. We're lucking out. We do not have any snow on the ground right now. And it's actually 49 degrees outside, so it's not too bad. I can't convert it into Celsius in my head, so. Hey V, how's it going? Let's see. If I move this up a little bit, I should be able to zoom in a little bit further. But that kind of takes the attention away from the saw. We'll try it there. I make these for a living. I make fiber tools for a living. So I'm sitting in my my workshop right now. Normally it's me and the girlfriend in here, but it's Sunday. She took the day off. So I got this whole building to myself. I'm a maker. So I've been doing this for full-time for the last 12 years. So prior to this, I was, well, I've always worked factory jobs. I worked almost 18 years in factories. I started in 2008 selling like wooden toys on Etsy and wooden signs. Yeah. It's been a while. And then one of my friends wanted a spindle, so I made her one. But I wanted to make sure it worked. So I went to my local yarn shop and they gave me a little tutorial and agreed to look at some of my spindles if I made a few. And here I am. So this channel is more about me showing you how to do more project-oriented. But I figured since I'm putting in 15 hours of cutting to prove that the saw's good, I might as well live stream it. That way if people want to call me out on it, they can come here and watch me cut things for 15 hours. All right. So you're 25 years old and you're an electrical technician? Nice. So we are making drop spindles today that are used to cut yarn, used to spin yarn. There we go. So we're cutting wood on a scroll saw today. Steel plant, nice. Yeah, prior to this, I worked at Quad Graphics, which was a bindery. We made magazines. I did that for almost 13 years. And then I went to Oshkosh Truck. I worked on an assembly line putting vehicles together. I did that for about 6, maybe a little bit more. And then I got laid off. I started making these prior to getting laid off and just kind of rolled it over into business. Yeah, this type of saw, it takes a little while. You need to get a feel for it. You know, scroll saws are good for like fret work, you know, little detailed things. They're not made, you know, to build a house with. And I've been really impressed with this little saw. Very impressed. The thickness of this blade, it's a number 7 blade. Let me look. No, it's actually a number 5. So yeah, the blade's really tiny. The width is 0.36 between, yeah. See, about less than half of a millimeter. You know, or like almost 2 thou. And then the width is, yeah, 0.18 or, yeah, less than a millimeter. No, it's 0.5 millimeters. So it's a half a millimeter. So these blades are pretty small. So this is the only packaging I have from this one. So I'm using a number 5, so it's more like this. So pretty tiny. They do make larger blades as well. I don't even have any tiny ones over here. So that's a number 5. This is a number 3, so it's even going to be smaller. All right, one of my boards fell. Let me pick that up quick. All right. So that was the Bolivian rosewood. Now we have 4 full-size gliders. This is Yaya wood. It's also known as white wange. All right, honey, have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. Much appreciated. Thank you for the kind words. So if you're just joining us, we are cutting out drop spindles. These are Turkish style drop spindles, or cross arm spindles. They're used for spinning yarn. We are also testing this 16-inch buck tool scroll saw. So Buck Tool sent me this saw for review, and we are putting 15 hours of cutting in on the saw to see how it handles it. We're currently on like our about 12 and a half hours right now of sawing time. So by the end of the day, I should be done with my testing, and then I can start recording the video this week and have it up hopefully on Friday. Oh, those calipers were $20. They're cheap ones. They're like 20 bucks here. They're cheapies, but they work. Yeah, this Yaya wood is pretty interesting looking. I never saw it before until, I bought this piece. All right, thank you so much. Much appreciated. So we're going to swap the blade out after this one. It's getting dull. I was using it yesterday too, so. I was a little light on the glue this morning on the patterns. They're starting to peel up. That's alright. We'll deal with it. And I really like the table on these. They have a coating on them so they don't rust, and they're really slick. So you don't have to sit here and rub wax on them or anything. It's nice. Let's see if it fits. We're a quiet bunch today, which is fine. Peel the pattern off, and we're good to go. So I've got some number 5. Thought I had some Pegasus blades here. Those blades are older than I am. Hang on. All right, we're going to be putting on this Pegasus 5 reverse tooth blade. So to put a blade on, you just put in that slot, tighten the handle down. You do the same thing on the bottom. Then tension the blade. Okay, we got 2 more of the white wenge. So a really important thing is to let the saw do the cutting. Don't push too fast, don't push too hard on it. Let the teeth on the blades do the work. Alright, take the pattern off. I use just one arm, kind of like a jackknife, just to get under it. Alright, this is the last of the yaya wood. Hello. Welcome in. Hey, Rod. Sid, how's it going? So today we're cutting out Turkish spindles for spinning yarn. We are also testing out the scroll saw. This is a 16-inch buck tool. They sent it over for me to test and to do a review on. So yeah, we're like almost 13 hours into testing it, and it's a good saw. Ooh, let me get out the translation, dentist. It is a long test. You know, after a couple hours, if anything is iffy from the factory, it would show by now. But I'm okay with it. You know, originally I was going to do 20 hours, but it got to be a little much. Let's do a translation here. Good day, everyone. Well, good day to you as well, Dan. Very nice to be here. I'm not really up on my Cyrillic, so I had to look. So. Hey, Martin. Welcome in. So. I could sound like the dumb English guy and go, trivia to my droog, which is wrong, but my hearing is way off. So we'll go with that. All right. So we have the Bolivian rosewood. We got 3 more of those to go. I think we're going to go on to, ooh, got some leopard wood after that. Stuff is just gorgeous. I do on occasion. So spiral blades are twisted so they cut in every direction. So if you're cutting something that's too big to fit on the saw, spiral blades can save your butt. So hang on, I'll show you something that I cut. I'm going to try to be as gentle as I can, but after watching the videos back, this is just like giving a monkey a camera. So, above the door. So I cut this out with spiral blades. It's all one piece. I actually have a video of us making this. So for something like that, spiral blades are great. But for most everything else, I really prefer just a normal straight blade. So, there's my 22-inch Bauer, which comes out of the same factory as this little 16-inch buck tool. Since I'm up and about, this is my main production saw here, this 21-inch Pegasus. So, hey, thank you. So these are spiral blades. See how they're twisted? So they're nice for cutting in all directions, but you get a much nicer surface finish off a flat blade. Yeah, so my videos are few and far between. I got really busy with my show schedule, so things are settling down now. But there's some other people who do scroll saw work, and they just poop out a different project, every week. And it's all basically the same. You're not learning any new skills. So, hello, D Nice. How's it going? Welcome in. No, I don't want to do that. If I'm making a project, I want to do it to demonstrate, something new. Like, use enough glue so your patterns stay on the wood. I'm sure if Vicky's at home, she's laughing at me. She's the one who normally glues things down. So I have failed myself. Well, the 3D printing projects, I'm done with the dragons. So I bought 10 rolls of filament. So I've got, I don't know, is there 45 or 50 in here? So we got done with this big batch. During the week, I'm still running the printers. I'm running more fiber tool stuff. So there we go. Hopefully my schedule, I will do like in woodworkers, more of a woodworkers type. I'm a woodworker. What can I do with a 3D printer? How can this help me? So I'll print up a bunch of different jigs and do that. So it's coming up. Let me write that on the schedule so I don't forget. There, it's on the dry erase board. So yeah, right now I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff made up for the holiday sales. Right now people aren't buying because they're waiting for the holiday sales. So let's get a bunch of stuff made so when things go on sale, people have stuff to choose from. Oh no, not an issue, man. That's why we're here. So when I sat down this morning, I had like 3 hours left. Strap on your guitar. There's a little ukulele here. I don't even think it's in tune. Ugh. That ukulele is horrible. How's Gavin doing today? Do I like jokes? Absolutely. The worse the dad joke, the better. You have a scroll saw with pin blades? The only disadvantage about pin blades are just the size of the blade, you know? You know, unless you knock one of the top pins out and then put like a safety pin in it to bridge the gap, or use an adapter, which is great, except for the time it takes to use the adapter. Oh no, it got retracted before I could read it. Hey, Paul. You retracted it before I read it. I saw it there. I don't know. Yeah, I've been scroll sawing since '87. So, yeah, my first few scroll saws were pin blades. Which is funny. I was looking at some reviews online of the saw, and somebody gave it, they criticized it for not taking pinned end blades. And I'm like, well, you could have saved, like, you know, you could have spent a third of the money and got a pin end blade saw if that's what you wanted. All right. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Pin blades are thicker, and they have to be wide. Well, they have to be thicker because you got to put the pin in them. They're thicker. The teeth tend to be huge. Just dropped the cap, but yeah, it's a number 3 blade. I got number 1 blades here too, and some 2.0 blades. Beer does sound good. I believe there's a football game going on right now. And I'm literally 3 doors down from one bar and 2 doors down from another bar. So. I'm surrounded by taverns. My spelling is atrocious. Scotland's going to the World Cup. So YouTube the Tavern, it's a place to be. Yeah, I'm not a huge sports guy. Yeah, there's American football going on right now. I'm in Wisconsin, and I think Green Bay is playing Minnesota, I believe. What's the Packers score?
The Packers are leading the Vikings 17-6 with 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
So the Packers are winning. When I used to, work in the factories, I kind of had to, I would keep track of the scores just to know what kind of mood the people would be in the next day. If it was a big game and a bunch of people, it was a big game, and if the hometown team lost the next day, a bunch of people were calling in sick. Right? Don't get me wrong, I like the concept of professional sports, but yeah, it's not my thing. Yeah. All right, next up we have some leopard wood. Made out of leopards. Oh, I can't complain. I do much better working for myself than with others. I feel very blessed. People always want to know about money. Oh, you're making a lot of money. Well, I pay my bills. I'm never gonna be wearing a top hat with a monocle smoking cigars. But yeah, I'm happy. My bills are paid, I'm happy. I can't ask for much more than that. I'm just going to separate this into pieces because this piece of wood is warped. So, got a little wiggle there, a little wiggle there. It's not going to be noticeable on final product, but if it's a little bit warped, it's not going to be cutting square. So we're good now. You don't have to keep up with your neighbors. At the end of the day, if you're keeping up appearances, you're just a bucket. You have 8 guitars? Nice. I have one guitar at home. It's an acoustic. It's a Ibanez Artwood guitar. It's really pretty. I've been meaning to sell it. I have a lot of carpal tunnel and nerve damage, so I really can't play anymore. I do have a couple ukuleles. Just as the nylon strings are a little bit easier to contend with. Like a Stratocaster? Nice. I used to have a Mexican Tex-Mex Fender Strat. Had different tuners and different pickups on it. It's a nice guitar. And there's nothing wrong with Squire. I used to have an Epiphone Les Paul too, which was a nice guitar. It was a studio, so it had a smaller neck on it. It's nice. Ooh, Tanglewood. Hey Cecilia, how's it going? Welcome in. I used to have an acoustic that was a celebrity, so it was like the generic Ovation with the plastic back. Back when I was young. I've always been more of a drummer, but I did play guitar in a couple bands. Way back in the day when I was young and foolish. Full of dreams. But it's nice to have something to plink around on. Every once in a while. Right? All right, we're an hour in. So we're at 13 hours on the saw. So if you're just tuning in, we are cutting out Turkish-style drop spindles that are used to spin yarn. And we are testing out the saw to do a review on it. This is a 16-inch buck tool scroll saw. They just came out with it. See ya, you're off to Japan. Very nice. Remember, in Japan, say, Watashi wa anata to netai. That's all you need to know. Hey, Jose, welcome in. Oi, como va? Having a Santana reference day, I guess. Happy guitar. So I'm hoping to get some time with the CNC machine and get that dialed in. Yep, have a good day. Yeah, I kind of got... Yeah, for the CNC machine, I want to machine some, like, catch-all bowls. And I'm thinking about making, like, a guitar pick-shaped bowl that you can throw your picks in. Hey, Alan, how's it going? So we're definitely getting towards the end here of this test. 2 more hours. Woohoo! My land. And remember, if it's not Scottish, it's crap. I'm just talking. There was an old Saturday Night Live sketch where Mike Myers was working in a Scottish store and everything. If it's not Scottish, it's crap. That was like before Austin Powers, so a long time ago. At shows, I do wear kilts most of the time. More like utility kilts, nothing really too outlandish. But yeah, there's always somebody who has to ask me what's under my kilt, and I'm like, socks. I mean, if you want to peek, go ahead. Primarily, I make a lot of spindles. I do make some other fiber tools as well. But yeah, just... lots and lots of spindles. And there's a bunch of different types, so I'm not doing the same thing all the time. I spend like a lot more time on the lathe than I do on the scroll saw. But... Yep, have a good day. Yeah, I used to make a lot of wooden signs and toys and that kind of stuff. Have you ever heard of Steve Good? I have. Steve Good, I made one of his patterns and made a YouTube video. Not on this channel, it was a different channel. And he actually featured it in his blog. So for one day, I had a lot of views on that video. I think that one day I made like $5 in one day for the amount of views that came in from him. Yeah, Steve Good's a good guy. If you're looking for patterns, Steve Good is a great resource. I really need to order one of his USB sticks with like all the patterns in from the past umpteen years. Hey Tony, welcome in. Definitely a bargain. Yeah, Steve Good makes patterns for... I'll go grab a Steve Good pattern that I cut out on the channel. If I can find it. That's how organized I am. I have a video of making this. I've got a red one somewhere where I went through and power carved all this and rounded everything over. But yeah, he designs this kind of stuff. So this is my one of my Christmas designs from last year. So, she's a biggie. So there's a video for this as well. And the projects that I make, very happy with it. Oh, yeah, I've got the Bower as well. If you just got the Bower, check out the video, Miley. Hang on a second. I've got a video where I show you how to make this. So this is a 22-inch Bower. So when you pick it up, it locks in place. Nice that you sold one of those wall clocks. That's awesome. But you can't reach that pin. It's just too far out of the way. So we just made this little lever here. Come back. You just... That way you can stay in your chair. You don't got to get up. You don't got to reach. I mean, it makes a world of difference. A lot of people will just unscrew this pin and just remove it all entirely just to get rid of it. But yeah, just this little lever here is really sweet and really makes it more of a more convenient. We'll put it that way. So I was given this. This is a 16-inch buck tool. So it's basically the same as the Bower, except for it's much smaller. They make a 22-inch as well. They just came out with this one. Oh, nice. Awesome. Good to hear. Yep. But the Delta, at least that pin, you push it in. You don't pull it out. So it's a little bit easier to push it in than try to pull out that pin. I disabled mine on the Delta too. But with the 16-inch, you can actually reach it. So this does have the plastic piece that fits on the front to hook up a vacuum to it. This one's, it's kind of passive. So you hook up the vacuum and it does suck up stuff from underneath, but these holes don't have suction. So it's just whatever falls, excuse me, into those holes will get sucked up. Or like on my Pegasus, you can like feel the vacuum on the top. So I put it on. I played with it a little bit. It works fine, but it gets in the way from reaching underneath to change the blade. So I took it off on mine. This is made in China. But yeah, I have nothing bad to say about this saw. I did get a hold of Buck Tool. At its slowest speed, a little weak. And what happened was, on the assembly line, they put the controller for the big one into this one. This one is supposed to be 550 strokes per minute on the slow speed, but the bigger one's 370. So at the slowest speed, it's a little weak. Yeah. Yeah. I've got a Delta in the back. It's torn apart right now. But yeah, I just like the new rack and the newer kind of style with the rack and pinion. So your table always stays flat and the saw tilts around the table. Which is kind of nice. You don't got to worry about your table going out of square all the time. Am I okay? I'm not sure. Only time will tell. So we turn it all the way down. It's a little peaked. You would go slower if you were cutting really thin material. Make it a little bit wider. Yeah, if you're cutting something really thin, that's the only reason you use it. The only reason and I got a hold of them, like, guys, there's like no power. Like if you take a 2x4 at the slow speed and push it in, it'll stop the saw. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, we figured out what's going on. So they're gonna fix it. It's not a big deal because the speed range is still the same. It's just like, it's not gonna have any big power at 1. So you'd have, at 0, you have to turn it, well, at 1, you'd have to turn up to 2. For some reason, the scale goes from 1 to 8 for the speeds. Yeah. Yeah, right now it's set to 7 out of 8. That's very true. Unless you're cutting like ebony. Because lasers don't like ebony at all. Time to come home to Scotland, right? Hey, Hobby. Miley, what kind of laser do you get? Alright, this is walnut. Yeah, usually 1/4 inch or less, you know, will end up on the laser. So let me grab a finished one. So, yeah, we're making the arms right now, and then there's a shaft that goes through it. And this is a yarn that I've spun on this one. So here's an example of what this one looks like before finishing. It needs to be sanded yet, but I did laser engrave the top of it. So, yep. So right now I'm just kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You know, I want to get my 15 hours cutting on the saw for the review. And this is my production. This is my day job. So, yeah. Yeah, usually when I live stream, I'm making spindles because, you know, that's my job. Yeah, the engraving on the top is a motif taken from a Turkish rug. Will it ever stop? Yeah, so 5/8 inch walnut before we're cutting 1/2 inch. Most of my Turkish spindles are either 1/2 inch or 5/8 inch thick. There's exceptions. And there's a bunch of different shapes and sizes, and there's just not one that will do everything. I'm gonna sneeze, hang on. Excuse me. Where do I get my walnut? I get it from a local mill. There's a very nice mill that is about a 1/2 hour away from me. I've got it from the yarn. Yeah, my yarn. Oak Hooch is a pretty good supplier of wood if you're looking for mail order stuff. Got a lot of exotics, but they got domestic stuff too. They're out of Wisconsin. They're about 2.5 hours away from me. I went to the mill once. It's like in the middle of nowhere in farmland, and it's like a family-run business. And they run a little mill. Do a lot of online stuff. But they do let the public in there, so if you want to run around and pick up stuff. They sell seconds by the pound. So you can go, if you order them online, they'll just throw a bunch in a box. But if you go, they let you pick through it, so you can get all the stuff, the good stuff. Anyway. Nice. Nobody wants to see me. I'm an old guy with a white beard. Got some good deal support. Awesome. Let's see the woodcutter. The saw? Right, Alan? I do got a Santa vibe going on. I started going gray in my 30s. And it's funny because I just had a couple gray hairs here and there. And then you're the Scottish god? So there's pictures of me and my partner when we first got together. And she looks pretty similar. But I just had such a red beard back then. My father was very white, as far as his beard goes. I dye it from time to time. It's been purple, it's been blue, it's been green. He did both. Yeah. I look a lot like Phil Collins. You know, I got the receding hairline and the big bald patch in the back. And my son is going bald too. He is, right. White beard. He looked like C. Everett Koop, which is a throwback. He didn't have any dead worms in his brain or anything. He looks like Rip Van Winkle. My white beard goes below my waist. Nice. As long as you could spin flax into gold, I mean... Found a gray hair at 28? Yeah. That was Rumpelstiltskin. You're right. You're right. I should know better. Yeah, Rip Van Winkle was the sleeper, yeah. Literally the greatest day. And then he shaved up his beard and he became Vanilla Ice. What is Vanilla Ice's real name?
Robert Matthew Van Winkle is Vanilla Ice's birth name.
There you go. All he did was change his first name. Comes from a proud line of Van Winkles. Do I believe in the Scotch God? Miley believes in Scotch tape. I've seen Scotch tape. Unfortunately, I don't believe in any gods. But tell us more about the Scotch God. Did he go around making couches stain resistant? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was the Scotch Guard. You know, just talk about the Bible, you'd be shocked. Yeah. Well, let's talk about how they can't even, like, pick a cannon, you know? It's amazing that you can write somebody from jail saying, hey, if we're going to keep this religion going, you're going to have to ask people to give you money. I mean, like, a percentage of money. Like, just keep this going. I'm in jail. I can't do anything right now. And then, next thing you know, the church is like, money, 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 money. Well, I'm just saying. Well, there's just a lot of picking and choosing, you know? God said this, you can't do that. Well, God also told you can't wear, like, clothing made out of mixed materials. So your cotton poly blend shirt, you should probably be stoned for that. I was raised Lutheran, all right? Wisconsin Synod. So Wisconsin Synod and Lutherans are pretty close to Catholic as far as being very rigid in their beliefs. You know, minus the whole saint thing and praying to Mary and that kind of thing. But yeah, very, very strict. I actually went to a Lutheran college, which was ELCA, so it was a different synod. So, watch out, we got a former Pentecostal in the house. I mean, I used to be very religious, and yeah, not so much anymore. Blame college, they teach you how to think. All right. Yep. Oh, I wore a band shirt one time. Oh my goodness. I wasn't aware that God gave me a dress code. The important part is to be a good person. You know, treat others the way you want to be treated. Oh, and I have two friends that are pastors. One's a monk. Good people. Yeah. All right, we'll learn to use the scroll saw now. So the secret is to push the wood through when it's running. Now a lot of people like look right here, right where it's cutting, and it's kind of like when you're driving the car, you don't look exactly in front of the hood, right? So I'm looking more back in like this region, about an inch away, and I'm guiding it from that point to that point, and then I'll keep going to another point. Now, you're always constantly adjusting to stay on the line. So be smooth. If you go off the line, take your time going back on. For the majority of the cuts you make, nobody's going to know. Once you pull the pattern off, nobody's going to see that it's wrong or bad. So with these patterns, I try to split the line so you're not seeing the pattern line on this. Scroll sawing seems so slow. Well, it's meditative. We could do like ASMR. So, now I'm cutting. Let the sound of the saw enter your soul. Clickety click click click. This piece seems thicker than 5/8. Am I going nuts? Yeah, just a hair. Yes, beer. So, long time ago, decades ago, when I used to work in a different factory, we had some Polish college kids that came over to work, and they bought me some Polish beer, and I'm like, huh, yeah, it's just a little thick, it's fine. They brought me a Polish beer, and like, oh, this beer is awesome. And I took one drink of it, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Schlitz. So yeah, the old American beers taste like current, Polish beers that have been being made since before the United States was in existence. Yeah, if I would have noticed, I would have just ran it through the planer, but that's all right. Let's see, when you were a kid, people put Polish people in jokes. Yes. You see, it's Polish people in the world. Yeah. It's like anything else, I'm in Wisconsin, so I gotta make fun of people from Illinois, and they gotta make fun of me. Yeah. So I do have music going. YouTube does not like when I play music, so that's why I don't do it. Otherwise, they demonetize and remove my streams. Hey G, hey M, welcome in. So I'm like, okay, fine. When I was streaming on a lot on YouTube and Twitch, I was doing like multi-streams for quite a while. I'm like, fine, I'll just go on my phone, on my iPhone, open up GarageBands and make like a really long song that I could play. And the next thing you know, I got demonetized for that too, and I had to fight it. So what happened was there was a record company in England that let you submit music and they would publish it. Well, somebody published a song using the built-in loops from iTunes, so they wanted to take my money from the streams. And I'm like, oh. So I fought that and I won that, but it's like, what's going on? I don't know if I could deal with warm beer. Aw. I'm not sure how to get 37 cents change. Funny. Thank you so much. It will go to good use. So, my last payment from YouTube, I went to Menards and bought this 18-volt cordless blower / vacuum. I bought it yesterday for I think it was $16. And it does blow, so. Anything I make off the YouTube channel goes back into the YouTube channel. So. And I also bought a little cordless drill that I'm going to beat the heck out of. You know, obviously for under $20, so does my mother-in-law. Can I have her phone number? Oh. So yeah, me and my partner, both of our parents have both passed. So there's a lot of, oh, well, the good news is we can't disappoint our parents anymore. Yeah. Or 666, right? Yeah, my father, he had a lot of, he worked in a stone quarry and he breathed in a lot of stone dust. So his lungs were pretty bad. So he was on oxygen for a long time. So luckily, he did go before my mom. But then my mom had dementia for quite a few years. So yeah. Dementia sucks, just so you know. I actually have a t-shirt that says dementia sucks. You still have Jewish guilt while my parents are both gone. Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things, you know? Well, with my mom, so dementia sucks for the family. It doesn't suck for the person most of the time. Yeah, my mom was pretty much a drunken toddler for the last couple of years. Yeah, yeah, it's rough. So if you look at my channel, that's why there's a huge gap. There's a couple year gap in me making videos. I started the channel right before it got to the point when we had to start watching her. So there's 5 of us for the kids. So we had a rotating schedule for a long time. By the time she went into a home, she was already in hospice, and she was only there for a couple weeks. Rough. All right, where are we at? Okay, we're at hour and 49, so we're almost at 14 hours, so we got 1 hour left. Hello, Rosemary, welcome in. Today we're cutting out Turkish spindles, and we are also testing the saw out for a review. So it's going to be a good review. The saw's been wonderful. Yes, still drop spindles. I looked. I have, over the last couple days, trying to put the hours on the saw. I'm up to like, I've got over 70 of them waiting for shafts, plus the ones from today. So I'm probably going to have like 100 that I'm going to have to make shafts for you. That's all right. So there's no such thing as having too many. Because we also, besides having the websites, we also sell at festivals, and we do some wholesaling as well. So certain people buy certain things. Yeah, we have a market for them. So if we make up a bunch that we know that the wholesale people are going to buy, we can have them ready to go. And, well, you know, I've been doing this for, you know, over 12 years, being full-time at this. And, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, I don't want to give people false hope. Like, oh, I could just copy him and make these and I'll be good forever. You know, there was a lot of things that happened to get to this point. Well, you guys got that repair shop TV show, right? I mean, that should help. Showing people they can fix stuff and make stuff. Hey, Wee, how's it going? right, Gavin, what's not good? Sorry, I'm a little lost. USA allows the way. I don't know about that. Yes, because if it's not Scottish, it's crap. Yeah, so being a small business owner, producing things, the whole political landscape now is just a little bit scary. I mean, hopefully things will settle down in the next couple of years. It's just been insanity. Have a happy Thanksgiving, Alan. It's almost 3 here. Yeah, so basically, I do most of my sales online, and my international sales have plummeted to almost nothing. And you can't blame anybody. It's like, my government's being a bully, so your government has to be a bully, and who gets punished? The customers. It's 9 p.m. That's not so bad. It's 3 p.m. here, so you're only 3 hours ahead, 6 hours ahead. I mean, I think Australia is 18 hours ahead of me. Yeah, what are you going to do? My issue with the government, at least here, is that lying is okay. Just straight up just lying. Nobody bats an eye. Hey May, how's it going? Welcome in. Oh, we're not going to mention any names, but yeah. I mean, we've all watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So we should all know about tariffs and who has to pay them. Just a bunch of crap. I'm old. Get off my lawn and bitch about the government. Hello, welcome in. Oh, these are 5/8 inch cherry. Just grabbing off the pile here. Hey Tom, welcome in. So we are cutting out Turkish spindles that are used for spinning yarn. We are also testing out this buck tool 16-inch scroll saw for review. With the roosters on their arms. Well, I can guarantee you my belief that the United States will be entering a war, probably not for a couple of years. If Trump's still around, he's going to start a war and say that we can't have an election until the war's over, which isn't going to work, but we'll see what happens. Hey, how's it going? Oh, yeah, so we're testing out the buck tool scroll saw, and yeah, it's a good saw. I'm not complaining about it. So actually I dropped down to a number 5 blade. Most of the time I was cutting with a number 7. I dropped down to a number 5 just because we're not using, we're not cutting really dense wood right now. Yesterday I was cutting like Vera wood, which is very hard. So the last 5 years or so, I've been primarily cutting on 21 or 22 inch scroll saws. But yeah, I spent like a lot of years on 16-inch scroll saws. So this is nice. I like the double parallel arm. So a lot of the 16-inch scroll saws are single parallel arm. So they have more oscillation in the blade. So when the blade goes up and down with the parallel arm saw, so there's a threaded rod that goes through the back, and then it clamps on there. But when it pivots, it actually does that circular motion. So 16 inches is okay, but you don't start seeing larger saws with a single parallel arm. There's exceptions, but you get more oscillation, so it's going to be more of an aggressive cut. So with the double parallel arm, you get much truer straight up and down because the pivot point is really close to the blade, if that makes sense. Regardless, I prefer this type of saw. And, you know, this has all the same components as like the bigger saws, the 22-inch saws. Same parts, just more condensed. So you're not losing out on anything. And 16 inches is plenty big for most things, unless you're making huge signs, I guess. All right. It's like, ooh, I'll go to the cedar. We'll finish cutting. These are also cherry, 5/8 inch cherry. Just want to make sure I drilled my hole deep enough. I like working with cherry. It's it cuts nice. It smells good. The wood gets a nice patina over time. It'll deepen up, get a lot darker. Hi, Gavin. The dog said. Oh, 55 minutes. I don't know if I have an hour's worth of stuff left to cut out. Your name is Coco? Awesome. Good name. I am good. So just peeling the pattern off. That poor dog. So I do have, there's 2 apartments above me in this building. And the dude has a little gray pit bull. And she really does not like being alone. And she'll bark for hours on end. The front neighbor has 2 dogs. They're like golden retrievers, and they're quiet. They'll bark at me when I'm coming in, but that's about it. There we go. So yeah, this is the newest design, which is actually this design here. Hello, Northern New York. Welcome in. Oh, I haven't been to New York in quite a while. I used to do New York sheep and wool in Rhinebeck. The wee brother. So it gives you freedom. You can say what you want to, and your brother will get blamed for it. You love playing guitar? Guitar is awesome. My fingers just don't behave anymore. I have neuropathy, so the tips of my fingers, I don't really have feeling in it anymore. Makes it hard to play guitar. I mean, I could rock out some chords. ADGB. It's one way of tuning. Yeah, I kind of miss going to Rhinebeck. It was in the fall. Sometimes you'd wake up and there'd be like snowflakes in the air. And it was nice. Except for we could never find a hotel in Rhinebeck, so we'd have to drive to... Can't think of the name of the place. You know, that place where the president has his mansion. Not Trump, gosh. Yeah, it's not going to come to me. Hello, Melissa. Welcome in. Yeah. Not Estes Park. You're just starting your scroll saw journey. Awesome. So, it's something park. So the biggest tip is don't be scared of your saw. I actually have a couple beginner scroll saw videos that give a lot of tips. Don't be afraid of your saw. Yeah, you can get cut with it, but more than likely it's going to be a Band-Aid cut. Hyde Park, there you go. Yes, Hyde Park. And then we ended up staying in a very horrible hotel called the Vanderbilt. It wasn't a crack house, it was a crack home. Nasty, but it was a place to sleep. Took you 3 days to touch it. Don't be scared of your saw. It's okay. Let the blade do the work is another big thing. What saw did you end up getting? You got the Bauer? Nice. So this is kind of like the little brother to the Bauer. This is a buck tool, 16-inch. So your Bauer will be 22. So this is a smaller one. It's a different brand name, but it's coming out of the same factory. So it should look very similar. And I'm trying not to get drunk, but I do have a Bauer over there. It normally lives on this table, but we're doing for this one. So, oh, if you just got a Bauer, about 5 hours south of you, across from Lake, where you grew up in that area. Very nice. So I have to say, if you're starting out with a Bauer, the pin in the back is way too far to reach. So we came up with this, and you know, so you bring it up, and then it's just this lever. You push it in to release the pin. Otherwise, if you raise up your saw, you almost have to get off your chair to go over there and pull it out. So I do have a tutorial video on how to make this. It would definitely be worth it, depending on what you're doing. My name is Scott. Yeah. So when I made the channel Making with Scott, I thought it was so funny And now I'm kind of stuck with it. I can change it, except for, you know, I'm years into this. Yep. Now, you want it, as far as tension goes, you want like a middle C. You know, that's enough tension. Pluck your blade, and it should be a high-pitched sound. If it's not, the blade is going to want to, it's probably going to break on you. And when you're first starting out, broken blades happen a lot. And that's okay. Yeah, I'm a wee bit Scottish. Like 5% Scottish. I'm primarily German and Dutch. But I got my ancestry tape, my DNA test taken, and I'm a bunch of other stuff, but I'm mainly a European slob. All right, so we got those cut out. Yeah, I do have some beginner videos. I go way, way, way into depth because you forgot to close the tension clip. Yeah, gotta make sure you got tension. So I will go through, I'll just pluck the blade from time to time just to make sure I have the tension. Now, as far as, you want to make sure your blade is square if you want a 90-degree cut. What I like to use is this little machinist square. I just set it on the table and set it on the side. I'm not going to move the camera, but it's straight up and down. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Just, you know, to make it easier, just give me a sub, and then you can watch the videos. You can always unsub me later. But yeah, there's a lot of good information for new people. Now, if I want to make sure I'm square, I'm going to start the saw. I'm going to cut a line. Now I'm going to reverse it. If it fits into the blade, it's a good indication you're square. Another thing I like to do is make like jigsaw puzzle keys. So I got this little piece of scrap here. I'm just going to cut out a puzzle key. And it doesn't have to be fancy. So now, if I can slide it through with all these different, you know, corners on it, see how it slides all the way through? We know we're cutting square. If we weren't cutting square, it would get wedged in there. So it's a good way to go about that. Elias, hello, welcome back. So the nice thing about the Bauer and this style saw is that the table doesn't tilt. The saw tilts around the table, so it won't get knocked out of square very easily. How to cut sharp corners. So when you're, let's zoom in here. All right, so if I'm coming around a corner, I'm going to pivot and kind of push on the back of the blade. So I'm using the back of the blade. Now it's more round. So I do have some printable patterns that you can put onto the wood to practice. But yeah, just... Hello, welcome in. So yeah, the big thing is, grab some scrap wood, do some practice cuts. Now, I've been scroll sawing since 1987. I did take a couple years off when I discovered girls. Yeah, yeah. You're Japanese? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's the smaller the blade you can get away with, the more detail you can get out of it as well. I would. What are you using as far as blades go? Because like bearwoods.com, they've got a Canadian site and a US site. I'm sure there's other places online as well. That will sell sample packs where you can get a whole bunch of different sizes to test it out. Japanese man is coming back. Oh, okay. Watashi wa anata no mune ga suki desu. Which means I like your boobs in Japanese. Yes, sample pack from Bearwoods. It's worth the money. So as far as blades go, I use Nikwa blades that are sold in the U.S. under the Flying Dutchman name. I use Pegasus blades that are made in Germany. No, the Nikwa blades are made in Germany. The Pegasus blades are made in Switzerland. And then I'll also use Olsen Mach Speed blades, which are made in the US. So those are the three main brands I use. Swiss. Yeah. Do I like motorbikes? I'm kind of motorbike neutral. Because of the nerve damage I have, the vibration would not be a good thing for me. When I was younger, yeah. Basically began with number 5. Number 5 is a good general size. I'm running a number 5 now. If you're using 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch material, a number 5 blade for most things is really good. It's all dependent on what you're cutting out too. So if I was cutting out Vera wood, which is Argentinian ligamvente, it's very dense, and I almost have to go up to a larger blade just to take care of that. Now, when we get to these, BSA Honda, where I have a lot of internal cuts, like these llamas, I will go to a number 3 blade just because the detail. A number 5 blade would be way too big. Okay, I'm in Wisconsin, so it has to be Harley Davidson, because that's That comes from where I live. None of this Triumph stuff. I'm just trying to aggravate people in the UK. Kidding. So let's see. Oh, we're at 14 hours and 24 minutes as we speak. Mercedes. No, BMW. Hey, cool stuff. How's it going? You picked the right place because I make stuff. All right, so these are cherry. This one's almost done. We got one more cherry one. Actually, let's see what this other board is. Yeah, and then we're going to be going to aromatic cedar. So the shop's going to smell like a hamster cage. What's the Packers score?
The Packers outdid the Vikings by a score of 23-6 today.
Yeah, I guess people are going to be happy at the bar next door. Yeah, nickel blades, you know, they're a little less aggressive than the Pegasus. It depends on what style you get. I like like an ultra reverse or a polar blade. Modified geometry is really what I lean towards. You go slower. You definitely go slower. Otherwise, you're going to start cutting at angles. Yeah. Yeah, so typically my go-to blade is a number 7 for what I cut. I just went to a number 5. Seems to be a little bit happier. So I keep all my blades in the tubes. And then I printed out these caps because the caps that came with these would fall off pretty easily. So I made them out of TPU, so they're squishy. And then I have the size of the blade on the top, and then I have a band here with what it is. So yeah, when you start getting, so that was the Nikola. The purple is the Pegasus. I do like the Nikola blades. I love the crimp. They put a little crimp on the top. Of the blade. So it's hard to see. It's right here. There's a little crimp that you can feel, and that's up. So you can just feel the blade and then you can put it in. Especially once you start getting into the really tiny ones. Your brother's phone doesn't work? Oh, spell check? Hey, Lawrence, how's it going? Welcome in. Mine and baggies with magnets. Yeah, that works too. So the test, I have a little holder. This is not my main scrolling station. This is my test station. So this is a Bucktool 16-inch. I'm going to be doing a review this week on it. Just wasting time with my full-time job that I've been doing for over a decade. Whatever. So yeah, then you can get the holders. So that way you have everything organized. In here, there's a lot of like spiral blades. And then, you know, some saws have holders for it. All right. There's a whole world out there. If you don't like what you're seeing, just keep going. It's okay. I won't even tell anybody. I'm gonna grab some water real quick. Oh. You know, yeah, spiral blades are good for specific things. I showed this earlier, but so yeah, I do have a Pegasaw. It's a nice saw. I like it. That's my main production saw. So as far as spirals go, I do have a video on this, but I made this anti-disestablishment Terranism sign. So the spiral blades excel when you need to make something bigger than your scroll saw. Oh, there's my Merry Christmas sign. So that's the Steve Good pattern. So I cut it out and then I went back and I rounded over all the edges and kind of shaped it. So I think that's pretty good. So yeah, this is kind of the packing station up here where we take our inventory and pack it up. So got a TV and a very messy couch. Yeah. You know, I just really feel you just get a better surface finish with a flat blade. All right. We're getting there. Another half hour and I got my 15 hours of cutting on this saw. Yeah, it's okay. So yeah, we could do a real quick shop tour. So yeah, I was saying this is my little scrolling corner. That's where all the cameras are. So I do some. No, girlfriend's at home today. So then we have the bathroom. You don't really need to see that. And then, well, I'm charging batteries in here, but yeah. So this is where we keep all our food. Basically a little pantry and, you know, security cameras and whatnot. This is a finishing station. We use mineral oil finishes on a lot of our product. So this is what they look like after they get a finish. So that's zebra wood. We got some maple and cherry up here, walnut. And then after they dry, they get paired up here. And then we'll go over to the laser engraving. So we do a pickle Rick. Yeah, we got some 3D printers over here. Today's Sunday, so I don't have a lot of things running. Got this little photography area right now. Normally it's pushed out of the way. We got one laser engraver there. Come over here, we got the X-Tool F1, and then we got the X-Tool S1. And everything is vented out this side of the building here. Yeah, everything has its place. Then we have one sanding station here. So come over here, we got a layout station. And then we do a lot of drilling the center holes over there. And then over here is my lathe, and then we have another monitor here that will be displaying the same things as the other one. And then the chop saw, and the scroll saw. I do live stream from this saw as well. I think it might be a little bit of a commute. Then we have more sanding over here. And then we got a back room here where we use it for storage primarily. So I just replaced a bunch of lights in here, so we have light now. So that's my current wood supply. We're kind of trying to use up what we have before we get a bunch more spare boxes. We got the planer, and the drum sander, and then my dust collector there. And then there's one more room in the back, which is deep storage. So the back 2 rooms are not heated. And then we also have a basement that I do a lot of finishing in. So little router table. And then the CNC machine. So I have to do... I'm not totally comfortable. All right, Coco. Thanks for hanging out with me. Get some sleep. Sleep is good. So, yeah, it's taken... I was working out of a bedroom and an outside little tool shed for like 10 years. We've been in here for a little bit over a year. So specifically, I make spindles. I make these for a living. I make a bunch of different styles. So that's primarily what I do. I do a bunch of decorative stuff. Like the videos on my channel, I do a lot of beginner to intermediate stuff. A lot of decorative items. You know, just a bunch of beginner scroll saw stuff. It's been yeah, like anything else. You know, the first few years are very hard. Things are lean. You know, you got to build up, like any other industry. You got to build up a name for yourself. And you know, I walked by the table saw and didn't even mention it, but yeah, there's a table saw there too. So lots of little things. I started making spindles in like 2012. And yeah, I mean, before that, I was making a lot of wooden toys and scroll saw signs, keychains, that kind of stuff. I need to order some more pen blanks. You have a turkey designed by Michael Williams. It's a strutting turkey and it had 1,764 cuts. Took you 3 months. And you use spirals and it turned out awesome. Well, that's good to hear. Oh, I couldn't imagine. Once I get past a couple hundred, I'm like, forget this. But yeah, you know, it's like eating an elephant, you know? A little bit here, a little bit there. All adds up. And you stack cut too, you almost have to. Was it like 3mm Baltic birch? No? Oh, thank you. Let me lay that out again. Yeah, plywood is your friend for fretwork. I don't even think I have anything. You made a frame for both? Awesome. Hey, Coco, glad to hear, man. You're the one. Yeah, I used to make a lot of... I'm trying to think of the size. Is it 8x10? And then I'd just go out and buy frames and put felt on the back and be done with it. Yeah, I don't have any complicated fretwork stuff here I can show you that I made. That's all at home. Yeah, I used to sell those in like a consignment shop, a gift shop. All right, we are down to... Hello, I'm going to say Bert. Welcome in. You make it look easy. I've been doing it for forever. So we'll see what the number 5... Oh, and I'm running my saw off a foot switch. Just from Harbor Freight. It's like a power maintain switch. So I step on it once to turn it on and step on it another time to turn it off. It just saves a lot of wear and tear on the power switch, the on and off switch. I got in the habit back when I was running DeWalt and Delta scroll saws. Their power switches were notorious for breaking. It got to the point where I would just bypass the switch and just run a wire between and just run it off the foot switch. It got to the point where it wasn't worth going through the whole warranty thing to get the switch replaced. All right. It's starting to smell like a hamster cage in here. I'm going to swap out to a number 7 blade. So I want to say that these blades are in the wrong place. These look like number 5s. Yeah, the foot switch just saves so much time and effort. I mean, they're like, what, $15 at Harbor Freight? 15 or 20. And they always try to sell me the extended warranty on it. And I'm like, nah, that's okay. I mean, it's $20. It's only $4. But I know I'm experienced that, you get a 2-year warranty. These switches last me about 3 years. So I know it's going to break in 3 years. So. Oh, another thing I like about the saw is it has a soft takeoff. So you turn it on and it's slow and then it picks up speed. So it ramps up rather than, just going fast. So it gives you a couple seconds. I like it. Yeah, I have to make a lot. So the nice thing about the cedar ones is, cedar does a good job of keeping moths away. So you don't want moths getting into your fiber. So cedar is notorious for having a lot of knots in it. If you look at a cedar tree, there's a lot of branches on it. So for this stuff, I search for clear pieces. Cedar does smell nice. I am in such an open area that I do not... it depends what I'm cutting. If I'm cutting a lot of exotic woods, especially rosewoods, I will be wearing a dust mask. I do have a respirator that I will wear if I have to cut East Indian rosewood. That stuff just, it gives me headaches. Bad, bad headaches. It just depends on what I'm doing. You know, I am wearing safety glasses. I do have hearing protection in. But I know I'm just scroll sawing today, so I'm just wearing my normal watch. I have a work watch that I normally wear because I don't want to get banged up. Nine to one, hello. Make it just a little bit taller. Awesome, thank you so much. Yeah, I got a lot of beginner stuff on there, but you know, maybe there's a tip or two that you never thought about. So it wouldn't hurt. And the best part is most of those are in chapters, so you can skip around. I have some very long, informative videos that would be just so boring if you weren't interested in the topic. But, you know, I'm trying to give back, you know. I'm trying to help people out, start out. I mean, if you're neurodivergent, something like this is just like a godsend. Give you something to focus on. And, you know, I figured that, you know, I might as well live stream because I'll be here anyway. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad. You know, if you have any questions about anything, let me know. I'm here, you know. It's way better than, you know. I mean, I'm doing production, yes, but if I can help you out on something, I'd be more than happy to do it, you know? Way better than drugs? I wouldn't go that far. Right? And you know, cutting the whole material thing, you know, you want to cut with the best wood you can get, but that's expensive, so you use like the cheapest wood you can get. And then you're like, huh. So when I first started scroll sawing, I was like 12, right? And I was cutting anything I could get my hands on. Somebody's throwing away a piece of furniture, that if I can sucker somebody into helping me move it, that would be torn apart, and that would be my wood, and that's what I would use. It's not a bad thing, you know, or a pallet. Oh my God, you can cut out a lot of stuff with a pallet. Yeah, no drugs. All right. I have to make this one a little wider. Not a big deal. So I prefer to cut it smaller. No drugs, kids. Not people, just Scott. You can always make the hole bigger, but you can't make the hole smaller. So. And no God. Hey, if you're a religious person, that is great. I'm very happy for you. You know, I know the feeling, you know. But there's just way too many people that are religious for 1 hour a week. Oh, let's see. Holy cow, I'm 56 and just started. My dad had an antique shop and had a ton of those nice pieces that had broken pieces that had broken ornaments, and I'm replacing those, and I hope eventually you'd be able to replace those. That would be sweet. That would be nice. Yeah, I'm 50. So, you know, when I was 12 and we got the scroll saw, you know, I would go to the library. I'd ride my bike to the library, find a book I would like, and then they would have to order it because it was a very small library. And the ironic part is it's a library that's like 4 doors down that way. So I really haven't moved much in my life. So I'm kind of back where I grew up. Yeah, if you can replicate broken pieces and replace them, that's nice. Yeah, sometimes I look at my stats and like my recorded videos. There's a lot of older people who are getting into scroll sawing, and it makes sense. You retire, you got some time on your hands, you know. You want to stay busy, you want to keep your mind sharp. I have a lot of time. So when I was working out of the house, I never left work. You know, I had my scroll saw and my lathe in a bedroom. Then you go out in the kitchen and there was a laser engraver and 3D printers. And now that I have a shop, it's been nice. It kind of lets you put in like normal hours. Keeps me away from crowds. Yeah, people suck. You owned a bar for 8 years and it cured me when I work with the public. I don't blame you. Yeah, me and people don't really. I'm much happier, you know, by myself and just me and the girlfriend. I do shows. I do big shows, and I'm masking the entire time. So if you're not familiar with masking is pretending to be somebody you're not, and it gets tiring. Yeah, a little separation from work and home is amazing. Like today, I don't have to be here, but I want to get these hours done so I can do the review. Um, Nobody told me to cut for 15 hours, but if I'm doing a review on a product, oh, I can walk 2 hours down. I don't have any beer at the shop. I'm not a big drinker, but beer does sound good. I'm, and a Bloody Mary, that'd work. I am from Wisconsin, so we're very alcohol influenced here. Yeah, right. So yeah, I could put on a good show for people, but by the time I'm done with the show, I'm just ready to get some food and go to bed. It's so tiring. But that's the nice part about, majority of the time, since I'm working for myself, I don't have to do that. You're a good man. I try. I really do. Japanese food, noodles. I'm a big fan of tempura. Lightly breaded, deep fried stuff. So good. I've got some tempura shrimp at home. In the freezer that I gotta make. So there's a Japanese noodle place in Fletcher, North Carolina that's so good. But our last show was in Fletcher, and I was so sick. I got a stomach bug, and I was so sick. We didn't go. I was looking forward to it. All right, so 15 hours in, how do I like it compared to the Pegasus? The Pegasus is a little smoother. There's a little bit more vibration in the saw. If you turn it all the way up, yeah, there's going to be some vibration. But honestly, as far as the feel for cutting goes, it's pretty much the same. It's a little smoother on the Pegasus, but the Pegasus also is more than 3 times as much money as the saw. So I believe right now this saw on Amazon is $349. Which isn't so bad. When it got a hold of me, they gave me the option of either testing their new 16-inch or their new 18-inch. And I didn't say anything, but I've been eyeballing 16-inch double parallel arm saws for a while now. And typically the price on them, they're outrageous, Yeah. You like your Seiko? You would have liked the Pegasus 30-inch saw? Yeah. I don't cut anything that big. My 21-inch Pegasus, I've never been like, oh man, I wish I had some extra room. But I don't make huge things. By the time you get the 30-inch saw, you're going to want to build it into a bench that has an extension on it so you can really support large pieces. Now the Seiko, does it have the foot pedal to raise the arm? I know some of them did like a long time ago. Which I thought was kind of awesome. All right, let's cut these out. We got some with some other internal cuts, so we'll go through. We'll cut out the big stuff, and then come back in and cut out the little stuff. I mean, 16-inch saws were, pretty much standard, up until about, what? Up until they came up with the double parallel arm, because if you had a single parallel arm on that, you're gonna really start getting a lot of oscillation here. I used to have a Hawk saw, and that was a single parallel arm saw that was like 20 some inches, but it was aggressive. It also had a very long stroke on it, so it was aggressive. On top of the long stroke, you're getting more teeth per stroke too. But the downfall for that saw is it was one of the older models that you had a tension in the rear. We're gonna saw a gun. You want an AK-47? I'm not very good at sketching. AR-15, yeah. Right? We'll make them a little fancier. Like Jaws? Where you need a bigger boat? Hey Faye, how's it going? So we're just gonna cut off the outsides of these. Let's do one at a time. I'll cut off the arm on this. So this was from the same piece of wood. So. By the way, we made it 15 hours. Hooray! So yeah, the 15 hours, if you're just tuning in, Buck Tool sent me the saw for review. So I decided to use it for 15 hours cutting before I did the review, which is a lot of time. So yes, we made it. Do the police have a Glock? Some of them will, I would imagine. Yeah, I don't have firearms. I like shooting guns, but I don't have any firearms at home. The only gun I have at home is an old 22 that I took away from my mom. So it's just, long rifle, bolt action. It's a wall hanger. It's so old it doesn't even have a serial number on it. How far does the saw head go on each side as far as tilting? It's 45 degrees right, 30 degrees left. Let me look. Yeah, so it'll tilt this way 45 and then this way 30. So it definitely gives you options. And this type of saw, it's got the rack and pinion on it. So this always stays in place, and then you just loosen up this kip handle, There's a rack and pinion down there, which is nice. It really is. And what I like about the style saw, you know, since the saw angles and the table stays the same, it's really easy to make angle cuts. Ooh, noodles, Coco. Noodles are good. So yeah, I've been really pleased with the saw overall. I mean, I've had the Pegasus for about a year, over a year now, and it's given me zero problems. I think this is gonna be the same. Oh, well, that's not good. I hope you feel better. Shake is the same way, but still you came with a digital angle gauge that fits the head of the saw. Right? Yeah, I've seen those. It's pretty sweet. All right, we're gonna cut out this middle and then probably go to, well, we'll see. This isn't very complicated. We should be able to stick with the number 5 blade. When we get to the other ones, they're going to be a little bit more detailed, so they're going to have to be a number 3. So. No such thing as too much noodles. Yeah, tonight I'm going to make a green lentil soup, which is amazing. It's so good. I also have some 16 bean soup. I just don't have any ham to go with it. So I'll probably do that next week. So we've been cutting back on our grocery shopping. We've been pretty much grocery shopping for a week at a time. Like, we pick out meals, what we're going to make, and we buy those ingredients. And then we clean out a refrigerator now. So we don't have, like, you know, things going bad in the back. So. And that's worked out pretty well. I do have a block of tofu at home, but I'm a little light on vegetables, so gonna have to go to the store. Is there a reason why you scroll these instead of cutting them on the laser? Well, these are so thick. I only have 40-watt lasers, so they wouldn't cut all the way through. I could cut these out on the CNC machine, but I think people prefer handmade. So I'm looking at maybe making a beginner spindle that I can cut out on the CNC machine, but we'll see. Yeah, it is kind of therapeutic. I don't mind it. In a normal production day, you know, I'll be on my feet, I'll be on the lathe, turning stuff. And when my legs get tired, then I sit down at the scroll saw. My Pegasus, you could see, it, I don't know if you noticed, but it's at a huge angle. And then I sit in a really comfortable computer chair that has elbow rests, and I just like kind of relax on that while I'm cutting. Over here, you know, I got like a big stool and a big heavy flat bench. Primarily, it's just easy to film that way, and it doesn't raise a lot of questions like, why the hell is your saw angle like that? You could cut at that crazy angle. Yeah. Yeah, when you're sitting down, you know, the saw is just a little bit closer to you. I mean, it's not too extreme. Let's go over there. It's extreme enough, though. So it's there. That's a good angle. So, you know, it's like what, maybe 15 degrees. And then, you know, the majority of the little chips and stuff, I pull that out. The bucket does a good job. I've been working on an idea where I have a clamp here and a clamp on the other side while it's magnets, and then a piece of wire comes out, and then you put like a grocery, like a plastic bag in there, and then that catches the stuff that falls down. Yeah, it's not too sharp, but it's an angle. It really is. When you're sitting down, it's kind of a, oh, yeah, that chair is just so comfortable. It's so ugly, but it's so comfortable. Do I have a cat? So when you're sitting on here, yeah, you could get right up to the saw. I mean, I'm right there. Do I have a cat? I have 2 cats. I got a big fat cat named Jordy and a little skinny girl named Luna. They're both gray and black tabbies. So I'm sure I probably have a picture of cats. So there's Jordy. No, I take it back. That's Luna. Any pictures of the cats, which is kind of odd. That's what I look like in college with my BC Rich Warlock. So, those are my kitties. You know, the whole idea of doing the bag, I don't have it set up. Trying to figure out how I want to mount it. But because, you know, when you're cutting a lot of internal cuts, you wind up with all this little crap. So at that angle, it just kind of pushes down, you know. So. Yeah, I've just decided that I love dogs. I love other people's dogs. No, I love a good puppers, but yeah, I don't want my own. I had dogs. Knock it on the floor and sweep it up later. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But if you can get it right away, well, if you want to. So that's my current mess for right for right now. That's from today. I had this all blown out this morning. So yeah, I get it. So once I get that figured out, I'll make a video and share the instructions. So a little sanding and shaping, and we're good to go here. I mean, it would work on the splat table too, you know. Some nice hand-cut F-holes. So, I actually had a celloist, a professional celloist, buy one of these. Your dog got hit by a car. Oh, that sucks. It happens. Now, I don't think I've ever made this style spindle out of cedar. So. We'll see if people like them. Let's cut out this one first, the outside, and then we'll swap the blades and cut the little stuff out. Yep, so this type of saw, so this is the buck tool, the Bauer, they're coming out of the same plant. They're coming out of the same factory. The only thing is there is some vibration once you get to the higher speeds. But there's no reason you have to, I'm sitting at 7 here. Now I'm going to turn it all the way up. It sounds good, but I could feel a vibration in my feet. So the secret is you just don't turn it all the way up to, 11. All right. Yeah, so the phone I'm streaming on doesn't have a plan with it, but it's nice not using my normal phone because, if somebody calls, it disrupts the whole stream. It's kind of like the Windows tablet I have for my CNC machine. You know, poor thing, it's only ever going to see G code. I was kind of surprised. The controller for the CNC machine, they want 16 gigs of RAM. Which isn't a big deal. It's just, yeah, it's a lot of RAM going on there. Yeah, that's the upstairs neighbor's little pit bull. Beautiful girl, but she just barks all the time. So, the good news is I can just turn the saw on. I feel so bad for that dog. Yeah, let's go. That's a ton of memory. It really is. I mean, I would have thought you'd be able to run it off like a Raspberry Pi. I mean, all you're doing is throwing G-code at it. It does seem very excessive. It's purring like a cat. There you go. I thought that was a little silly. Cut out these two middles and then we'll cut out the little critters. So eventually I plan on making spinning wheels. Because the world needs more spinning wheels. So I want to make my own spinning wheels. So that's kind of why I got the CNC machine. So I'm making other things with it, trying to wrap my head around it. Yeah, there's quite a few up there. The majority of them were made about 20 miles away from where I'm sitting right now. And I'm going to get them going, I'm going to get them fixed up, and then I'm going to sell them to spinners at a super reasonable price. So I have, 5 of the exact same wheel, so I can, if I'm making one bobbin, I might as well make 20 bobbins. So it's not always about making a ton of money. I don't know. I like money, it's a good thing, but for somebody starting out, new spinning wheels tend to be in the $800 and up range. That's kind of what you're looking at, unless you're buying some weird, not professionally made thing. So if I can get those fixed, right now I probably get about $70 in each one. So if I can sell them for a couple $100 after I throw in, 4 bobbins and get everything running. That would make me happy. Go just a hair taller. You are number one. You've been here for a long time, Coco. Much appreciated. So spinning wheels basically do the same thing that spindles do, just faster. But spindles are much smaller, so you could grab a spindle and take it with you. Because you don't always want to have to lug around a big-ass spinning wheel. If you take it to the car dealership, somebody's going to take a picture of you and make a meme out of it. I do not have sheep. I did have a pet sheep growing up. I grew up on a kind of a hobby farm. As far as like that kind of stuff, we primarily had goats. So the sheep I had was a bummer sheep, which means the mother wouldn't take it. So I bottle fed it. Oh, yeah. Very cute. Her name is Bridget. Sheep are not necessarily the best problem solvers in the world. But they are cute. I do know a lot of people with sheep. So I may, come out during lambing just to hang out. Baby sheep are cute. Lambs are awesome. Come on. There we go. Hey, not a problem. Yeah, this chuck, very basic, but it works. Like I said, I've had my Bauer for over a year, and I have not had one issue. I've got Pegasus chucks sitting in a shelf, sitting on a shelf right now, because I don't want to swap it out. So the silly part is that the whole scroll saw sitting over here, the whole Bauer thing, and now the buck tool, was when I first started. I'm going to use number 3 nickel blade. When I first started making videos, I make a lot of videos for people just starting out, and that's what I want to do. I want to get people going. I want to answer all the stupid questions that I had to go search for. But when I'm making projects, I don't want people to say, well, yeah, you can make that stuff because he's got, a $1,000 saw. Of course you can do that. So that's why I bought the Bauer. Just to say, hey, you don't need to have, you invest what you can. I mean, if it's a hobby, this saw is gonna, be a little bit nicer than if you get a $100 Wen, All right, we got a T-Rex. Let's zoom in here. This is the fun stuff. So I'm gonna follow the pattern, pretty exacting, until I get to that arm. So that arm is gonna be a single stroke with the number 3 blade. I'm going to come down, and I'm going to come down with it. So it's just going to be like a single line, because I feel that's hilarious. So think of the pattern as a guide. You don't have to necessarily be 100% accurate. Once you pull that pattern off, nobody's going to know what it is. Yeah, the technique is more important than the saw, absolutely. But if you're just starting out, I can see how people would make that, you know, make that leap. Pop that out. All right, now we're gonna do that single arm. Because I think that's funny. I've always made them like that. So, get that little arm going. And people comment all the time. I hear them talking to their friends, laughing at that stupid little arm. And I think it's hilarious. Normally, I'd be looking through a magnifier when I cut these out. My signature, yeah, pretty much. When you like to carve stick roosters and leave them in strange places for kids? Heck yeah. So, I'll be back in a second. I'm just walking into the other room. So my big thing is, let me zoom out. Zoom out, please. Thank you. I 3D print these little sheep. So if somebody orders something from me, they get a little sheep. It'll be different colors, whatever color I have laying around. So yeah, these little sheep end up everywhere. If I walk in somebody else's booth, there'll be a little sheep here and a little sheep there. Yeah. So I've been doing that for lots of years. And I've made little wooden sheep too that I've put out. You know, I will never say anything. I'll just, you know, kind of casually walk by and just throw one down. There you go, the sheep. So, that cedar is smelling good. All right, now we got the super little llamas here, these camelids. Now, as far as cutting these out, I want to keep the point on the ear, right? Now, the muzzle, I might go a little bit bigger on. It tends to translate a little bit better. So I'm going to come up to that point, come back, kind of circle back to get that straight line there. And then I'm probably going to cut out the muzzle and then come back and then cut out that line. Now, we're not overly concerned about the little toes. So let's try it. All right, I'll get in there. I think that's pretty tight. Try to keep my hands out of the way. Yeah, I'm using a number 3. It's a straight blade. Great, now I'm questioning if I put it on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Everything tends to blend. There we go. Oh, man. I have an amazingly steady hand. It's just practice. Lots and lots and lots of practice. I mean, this is like 5/8 inch thick wood, so it's not necessarily tiny. A lot of times when you're doing really delicate fretwork type stuff, you're using really thin wood. So I have to cut slower so it'll cut true. You know, these blades are so small that if you start pushing at a weird angle, you're gonna angle the blade. And next thing you know, you're gonna have, you know, a triangle rather than a straight square. So that's why we're going ridiculously slow on this thing. I've been considering making a pattern where the alpaca or llama is cushing. That's when they're laying down. They look like a big caterpillar. Because if it was laying down, I could get a much bigger thing to cut out rather than this little thing. Slow my slower very good. Yeah. You know, but I've been doing production work for so long. You know, you just kind of get into the groove after a while. And it's funny because somebody will ask a question, a real simple question, and I can't wrap my head around it. Oh, yeah. Why did you do that? I don't know. Because that's what I do. All right. So we're going to put on a number 5. We're going to go with PS Wood Machine Super Sharps. I consider these a specialty blade. I don't use them a lot. They're very aggressive, very much muscle memory. So they're a very aggressive blade. I get them from Woodcraft, and Woodcraft is like an hour away. I don't get up there much. All right, we've got 5 more to cut out, guys. So we're probably gonna make it till about 5 o'clock here. But the good news is we've got the 15 hours in. We're going on 15 and almost 16. Yeah. Make a cocoa. All right, let's make a cocoa. Let me go grab some wood. Now, normally I would make a really fancy pattern and stuff, but let's see. That needs to be a C. There we go. So we'll try that. I love that you tune it without even thinking about it. Yeah, I'm always sitting there just plucking away. All right. So I'll drill the hole. I have 16 hours. I'm working on it. Yeah, normally I make a lot of my patterns with Inkscape, which is a free vector program. It's like Adobe Illustrator or Corel Draw. So I tend to work with SVG files, so scalable vector graphics. That way you can make it whatever size you want to without losing any quality. So vector graphics, where photographs are pixels, vector is all numbers. So it's just math. But you get a vector file, I can bring that in, and then I can make something for the 3D printer, or I can laser engrave something, you know, or I could print out the pattern, you know. I just broke my first blade on the saw. 16 hours in and I broke a blade. Now, to be honest, it's only 15 hours and 41 minutes. Milestone, yeah. I had too much tension on that blade. It feels like these blades are a little bit longer. So that's why I had to like adjust the tension of it. So yeah, and now I have a massive injury. See that? Wow. When the blade broke, it cut me. Now I'm bleeding to death. Oh, and it's good because I got blood on the wood too, so that's a great sign. It jumped on me. I swear these things are tattoo machines. All right. Paint it red, nobody be the wiser. Exactly. Good idea. Not an artist. That's why I do everything on the computer. But there's a Coco. All right. 5 more to cut. I should be done hopefully by 5. 12 minutes? Maybe not. On the fly doodle, pretty much. So yeah, this blade is not going to be ideal for this wood. It was fine for the Coco. I think it was having issues trying to, it wasn't clearing the wood chips sufficiently. So we're going to put on this number 7 blade. This thing should cut like butter, I mean. Boy, I wish she had smell-o-vision. Oh, you don't want that. Perfect day in the USA, right? Yeah, I think we're going to take the stream till 5. So we got about another 9 minutes. I need to get home and get cooking. Really? You can never win. End of the stream, everything goes bad. Everything goes sideways. You run out of hello, eh? Welcome in. Even my pencil is tired, yeah. So I've gone to mechanical pencils for almost everything. So my little pencil that I've been using is a 0.9 lead, so it's a little bit thicker. I put magnets on them so I can stick them to things. Gifted to my girlfriend, yes. She'll be very happy. She was supposed to hang out on the stream, but she never said anything. I'm guessing she's probably sleeping. Oh, let's be honest, she's playing on her phone. That's the way it works. Alright, that one did not make it. That's alright. Yeah, magnets on everything. Right? I have very little waste, but you know, life happens. She's not talking to me either. You take this to yourself. Yeah, we'll see. I'm kind of on the infinity plan right now. I just have to make infinity and then I'll be alright. So I think we're going to finish up this one, and then we'll do a count and see how many we've cut out in the last 4 hours. As I grab the pencil without any lead. So yeah, when I buy stuff, I tend to buy stuff in weird pastel colors, so it sticks out like a sore thumb. There's nothing worse than losing your pencil. I make a lot of my jigs and paint them bright colors or print them out of like bright pink or real bright yellow, just something so I can find them. So the reason the one that was bad, I broke it in half, is because we burn our kindling. We use this for kindling. So I don't wind up with a pile of like half broken things. You don't have to look at it, you throw it in the fire. So by burning the scrap in our fireplace, you know, it's good kindling. We got a lot of it. Sometimes we'll just do a fire just with this stuff. It gives you an extra chance to go through it and make sure something didn't fall in there. It's a great fire starter. What I've been doing is the wood chips that I get off the lathe. I've been mixing it with wax and putting it in like little Dixie cups, those little paper wax line cups. And those things, they burn for like 15 minutes. You know, you put that down and then you put, we print labels. So our address labels are like wax paper. We burn that too. So you put the fire starter and you put some of that wax paper in, throw this on, light it and walk away. There's no fighting with it. It's just poof, you got a fire. All right, we'll grab the stick and see how many we cut out. I'm guessing it's in the 30s, but I could be wrong. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And 3. So we got 33 done today in 4 hours. I've also been live streaming and chatting and walking around a little bit. So this is not an exact what I cut out. Let me move this. Will you stay there? No, sorry. I'm gonna put you down for a second. I'm still here. My hands are just full. All right. So I did make one day. I went through and I made 20 some spindles already. So this is what we've cut on the scroll saw in the last 33 in the last 16 hours. So I had 70 plus 33, so a little over 100. And that's right here. That's not including the ones that I already made shafts for. But I really can't tell how many I made because they wound up on this table. So, all right, guys, we've made it. I'd like to thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been a long 16 hours. All right, guys. I might live stream maybe a little bit tomorrow. We'll see. Tomorrow's probably going to be, I have to package, go to the post office, and then probably clean up the saw and start making the review. So, all right, guys, thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.